Hey everybody, Ben here for the Bonehead podcast, and welcome to Monster Monday. We've got another monster episode of Monster Monday where we have a look at the monsters you can use to monster around with on the Blood Bowl pitch. Now, we have a very potent sculptor friend. You'll know him. It's John from Brutefun. He is Brutefun, really, to be fair. So, John from Brutefun has got an excellent Minotaur. He's got an excellent range of 3D printable models, and he has hooked us up with a code for all of you viewers. I will put the details down below, and I will have posted it on the channel too. So if you watch this or watch any one of our other videos and go, yeah, I want those, then you can do so using the Bonehead code and get a bit of money off. So today we are going to be looking at one of the better models that I have seen him do, and it is the Minotaur. Now, you guys will know that I am very partial to Minotaurs in Blood Bowl. I think that they are potentially the best big guy. I know that that's a bit controversial. I think they're the most fun big guy. Yetis are good, but Minotaurs, they're the rock to the scissors of a Yeti, right? Strength 6, Blitz, Frenzy, Mighty Blow, magical. But when a Minotaur is born and takes to the pitch and decides that they want to be a career Blood Bowl player, there is a reason. And that reason is Grashnak Blackhoof. So today we are going to have a look at an excellent Minotaur sculpt that you can get from MyMiniFactory and print off and use as Grashnak Blackhoof. So let's have a look at the miniature. Okay, so this Minotaur Star Player is available on MyMiniFactory, and MyMiniFactory is where you use the Bonehead code, all capitals, to get 10% off, and forever. There's no timeline for this, so if you want to pick up a model now, or maybe next Tuesday, you can do so and use the Bonehead code for 10% off. Which is, in my eyes, 10% more Blood Bowl miniatures. And more Blood Bowl is more better. Anyway, let's have a look at this chunky boy of a Minotaur Star. So this has been sculpted with Grashnak in mind. However, as we've seen from all Star Player models, they make excellent normal Minotaurs. Perfect. Absolutely perfect. So this has got the standard level of detail that we see on a Brutefun model. We've got dents, we've got bits, we've got veins, we've got absolutely excellent bits of fur and flowing cloth, excellent sports shorts, and he's done a great job of putting all the different poses around. So you've got scratches on the face, you've got skulls, all this kind of stuff. The level of detail is awesome. It's a brilliant Minotaur player. It's got loads of character, but does a really good job of staying within, there you go. So we've got the tube test, right? The cylinder. How much does it stretch outside of its Blood Bowl square? Not really. It stays kind of within 34mm, which is where we want to be. Anyway, so this model is available right now for $3.50 from MyMiniFactory. Again, 10% off with Bonehead code. And you get it, you get 40mm base, you get the model whole, and you get lots of little pieces as well. So if you want to print in the pieces individually to put it together, you can. It can make it easier to support it. However, I went fully Roy Jenkins and supported the whole model in one big chunky print. So I tell you what, let's have a look at some of the STLs. Okay, so let's have a look at the model itself in one whole pose. We'll have a look at the split parts in a second. Now, this model is not pre-supported. Brutefun's deal is that he loves sculpting excellent models, but doesn't enjoy or is... no, actually, that's not very good. Okay, so let's have a look at the whole model first. Now, Brutefun's models don't currently come supported. It's not convinced that he can support them well enough to... Okay, let's have a look at the full model first. Now, these models don't come pre-supported. We've talked about this before with Brutefun's models. Basically, he wouldn't want to provide a pre-supported version that wasn't tested and wasn't done properly. So much better to just say, hey, I've sculpted this great thing. Here we go. You can print it. You'll have to support it. But, and I'll show you my supported version in a minute, it really wasn't that difficult. Now, this is a pretty intense model, but... actually, supporting it was fine, and I'll show you how, or at least I'll show you my finished supported version in a second. But first of all, I just want to have a look at some of the detail on this model. So as we zoom in, you can see there's tons of detail. You've got the scar on the cheek, you've got the veins on the arm, you've got all the fur going on. But this bit here, you've got the cool bull nose ring, you've got the drool coming out of his mouth, or foam, I guess, because he's in a frenzy, which makes sense, and absolutely awesome detail. So I don't know what else to show you here. You'll see it when we've got the printed model. But it is a beautifully sculpted piece of Blood Bowl gear. And just for completeness sake, what we'll do is we'll chuck all the individual pieces in there so you can see how it can come as well. And again, these are unsupported, but if you want to Save a bit of time on printing, actually, because actually if you are doing these bits individually, you will have less height, which means that your print will be faster, and actually there's a bit of an opportunity to just kind of make the supports a little bit better. You can support some of the areas that have got joining points. It's probably the best way to get a high quality model is to print it in pieces like this and use the flat areas as supports, but I didn't do that. I did the whole thing. Okay, so here is my supported version. So I dropped him on about a 45-degree angle slant. Now the reason for that is because what I wanted is the horns and all these bits to be able to support themselves. So as you go with like the flow of the print, everything facing outwards with the supports behind should be able to support its own weight. Now you'll have to add a few extra bits. So you can see we've got the drool on his face here where there's a couple of like mini supports. Now I did lazy boy this ever so slightly. I used Chitty Box. I know I shouldn't, but it's worked fine. And I used auto supports on light because I wanted to just be able to cover all that detail. And then what I did, and you'll see this, is underneath, and you'll see all the little bits on the feet and stuff like that. In fact, can we do this so you can see what I did with the supports? So you'll see I just went underneath, looked at the red areas which are kind of facing the plate, and I chunked a bunch of heavy supports in areas that I wasn't too worried about the detail showing. So if you look at his arm here, I know that that bit of the arm is going to be facing down towards the pitch. I'm not too fussed if there's a couple of divots in there, so I chucked some heavies in there, underneath the hand there, you know what, and on the flat of the feet as well. I went big on the heavy supports. Now, I'm actually really happy with how that came out. I put one heavy support on each of his cheeks, and the tail basically got away with just only a few light supports, and it came out really well. I was a bit worried about the tail because it's a bit of a finicky piece. But you can see here, if by supporting it like that, all of these details were able to just naturally form themselves, which means that that front piece, the bit of the model that you really want to look good, doesn't have a lot of supports on, which means it's pretty much just prime print, prime detail, prime sculpted Minotaur. Awesome. Okay, so let's have a look at the model itself, and then we need to get it into zoom mode. Here we go. So it's in focus now. I really wanted to start painting this dude up over the weekend, but I mean, I stuck with my Norse team instead. However, I wanted to hold off to show the detail when it came to the print. I wanted to make sure that I showed it off properly, and this is it. So this has been printed on my Mars 2 Pro, standard settings, standard resin, and I think you'll agree there is nothing standard about this. This is an absolute tank of a model. So I supported this, so there's still a couple of bits left for me to tidy up, but that's because I'm a bit of a cowboy when it comes to 3D printing. But I mean, you can see all the levels of detail. This was a really quick print, maybe a couple of hours or something like that, so I didn't go heavy on the detail, but you can see that everything's come up. We've got the drool and the dribble of the Minotaur. We've got all those details. It's a little bit shiny where maybe my IPA needs a bit of a clean, but you can see everything has come up absolutely beautifully. Now I'm just going to do the slow rotate so you can see all the levels of detail. Now I went heavy on the supports on his back because I did not want this to fail. It's a beautiful model. I supported it like this, and the reason I'm happy with that, I wanted the detail to be on the front. I wanted the detail to be on the front and the top. That's where I wanted you to see it. At the back, it doesn't matter if you get a few pock marks. I mean, everybody has pock marks, and I have pock marks. I haven't been 3D printed, so maybe I was. There you go. No, crazy thoughts for today. You can see all the armor. You can see the spikes. You can see the detail on the fingers. I mean, you can see a few of the heavy pock marks on his underneath areas, shall we say. But actually, that's just because I put them there because I didn't want to impact the quality of the print. And you know what? Overall, I'm very happy. Now, I printed this dude at 100% scale. So let's bring in another Strength 5 dude. Let's bring in a Games Workshop Ogre this is from Dungeon Bowl. So 100% scale with the Minotaur from Brutefun. This dude is massive, but if you look at I mean, we always do kind of like the circle thing. I still need to get that mouse map printed so that we can do that better. But you can see here, like, he's going to fit within a square. He fits on a 32mm base. Now, I have a 40mm base because I went to town and printed bases off for my Norse guys, and I've got this for the star players. And actually, I wanted to have him either sort of forward on the spikes to get that kind of chaos detail, You know, he's looking into the crowd, or just actually like that, maybe. I don't know. But this is a 40mm base, and I think you'd agree, he sits on there perfectly. Once you got him on the pitch, he's going to be an absolute chonker, which is brilliant, but he stays within that profile, which is all important when you're playing Blood Bowl, because actually there's not a huge amount of overspill, which is really important because you don't want dudes to be knocking dudes around. However, if you look at him compared to an ogre, he's got the mass. He's obviously a little bit thin down the bottom, but that is because he is an ogre. He's got that bovine bit, but he's got big shoulders, big arms, and actually, scale-wise, is beautiful. This is a proper star player. Now, I like my big guys big, so I grabbed a troll. So this is one of the Rock Gut Troggoths from the Age of Sigmar game that I use for one of the trolls. Is this Paul or Barry? Brawler Barry is the hunched over one. This is Paul. There we go. So actually, compared to an Age of Sigmar troll who barely fits on a 40mm base, right? Actually, he is a little bit on the small side. That is because the trolls are far too big. But this guy fits on a 40. This guy does not look particularly smaller than the troll, and I think that's probably where you want him to be. Let me grab a Norse fellow just to get the strength 3 representation. Yeah, okay. You know what? He may look a little bit smaller than a Rockgut Troggoth, but the dude towers over normal mortals, and I absolutely love it. And there you have it. A very cool Grashnak, a very cool Minotaur from our friend John Brutefun himself. I love this. This is wicked. As soon as I saw this model drip, I was like, ooh, I need to print that off. I'm going to get around to it. And I hadn't. And then when the Bonehead 10% code for MyMiniFactory came floating through, I was like, you know what? I know exactly what I need to print and show off, because this model is excellent. The Ogre that he's done is excellent. The Savage Orc team is really cool. Now, we're going to have to do that for a print to pitch soon enough. I just love what John's doing. I love Blood Bowl. I love Minotaurs. I love this Minotaur. If you're interested, I'll put the link in below. But otherwise, anything you're buying from Brutefun on MyMiniFactory, use code Bonehead for 10% off. Anyway, I'm going to wrap up. Thank you very much for watching. We'll be back soon with more Blood Bowl content. Happy printing. Ow. Thanks very much for watching. We really appreciate your support. If you want to help support the channel even further, please like and subscribe, or come join us on our Patreon. We have early access to content. We get loads of feedback from you guys, and we try and do competitions as much as we can. Or you can get yourself some Bonehead Podcast merch on our Spreadshirt site. So if you want to support a team, especially for the Bonehead Championship, you can pick up a shirt, a mug, things like that. It all helps support the channel, and we really appreciate it. Anyway, links below. Thank you very much. Happy blocking.